Right, and the next topic is legislation, and there are a number of acts and safety things that you need to be aware of for your exam that might come up on the questions. The first one we're going to look at is the Food Safety Act 1990. And this is a law that makes sure that all the food that premises make and sell is safe to eat. And this law or regulation covers the environmental health officers, which we've learnt about, shortened to EHOs. And the environmental health officers have the right to inspect premises. They can just turn up unannounced. They inspect the food. They can take samples of the food to make sure that they're safe. And they can confiscate unsafe food items and products. They can issue notices for improvements, so if they don't think that something or an establishment or a business is working as hygienically as they should and the food isn't safe to eat, they can give notice to improve and give them a long list of things that they need to do, and they can close the business down as well. And remember that these businesses can be fined if they're not seen to be making these improvements. You know the things they look for. They're looking for how food is stored, how it's cooked, is it cooked properly, are they leaving things out on the side that should be in the fridge, how are the personal hygiene procedures, do they have a food hygiene system in place, are they checking regularly, that sort of thing. They need to look for hand washing, sinks that are separate to the food preparation area, toilets need to be separate from the kitchen, in a separate room, not joined. All the stuff that's in your book you need to revise because it may come up in an exam and before it's come up in one of the essay type questions, so you'll need to write quite a bit about it. The next legislation we're going to look at is HACCP, which we've just spoken about in the previous video, so I won't go into detail. It is a legal requirement that all businesses carry out these hazard checks. So the stuff we talked about on the HACCP, it is actually a law, it's a legal requirement for them to do that. They need to identify the critical points in which things can go wrong, and they need to be seen to put in preventative measures in place. There are 3 types of hazard that you need to know. The first one is biological hazards, which are your bacteria, your food poisoning bacteria. The second one is chemical hazards, so things from cleaning products, sprays, anything chemical that can get into your food. And then the third one is physical, which are bits of debris that can get into your food. The next regulation is the Food Safety Regulation 1995, and we've just spoken about that one as well. That covers food premises, personal hygiene and food hygienic practices, so I won't go over that again, but be aware of the title, know what it's about. Food Safety Regulation 1995. Moving on to Food Labelling Regulations 2006. The next thing you need to be aware of are the trading standards. So this just means that it's a criminal offence to falsify or give a false description of the food and services that are being sold. The next one is the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, which is a big one you need to know about, and that covers all the health and safety issues in the workplace. So this isn't just food related, this is about risk of physical injury as well. This covers things like working environment, training, maintenance of machinery and equipment, and having good risk assessments and strategies in place to prevent people from getting injured. Health and Safety Executive, or HSE as it might be shortened to on the exam. These are the people that are responsible for ensuring that the staff are safe at work, and there is a 5-point plan that you need to know about. We have covered it, revise it. That is that they need a written health and safety policy, that's number 1. They need regular risk assessments, so they need to be able to assess the risks that might happen. They need effective planning and controls. They need a way of preventing those injuries or things from happening, so the control of the risk. They need to be able to provide health and safety advice to their staff, their employees, how to stay safe, how to use things safely, that kind of thing. They need to always consult their employees about the risks that are involved and about how they can be prevented. You also need to know about the different safety signs around the catering establishments. There are 5 main types of signs that you need to be aware of, and you probably already are, I just want to point them out. The first one are the warning signs, and they are the yellow triangles with the black writing in to warn you of something. The next are mandatory signs. These are circular. These are just instructions, and these are on a black background. Then you have your prohibited signs. So they're the signs that tell you not to do something. They're also circular, but they're on a white background. The next ones are your emergency signs. Now they're either square or rectangular, and they have a green background to them. Then your fire safety signs are also square or rectangular, but they have a red background, so they'll stand out. So you need to be aware of the different 5 types of signs. You also need to be aware of the fire regulations, which is all about the fire procedures and preventative measures. You need to be aware that fire needs 3 components, and you see it in a triangle. So you've got 3 components on a triangle. You've got fuel, which is the thing that burns. You've got air, which is the oxygen, and then you've got the heat, so whatever's providing the heat, either gas or electric. So you've got 3 components to a fire. Now to put out a fire, you need to get rid of any one of those 3 from the triangle. So you either starve the fire by taking away its fuel, so the thing that's burning. You smother the fire, so you take away the air, the oxygen. Or you cool the fire by taking away the heat source, which is the gas or the electric. So you can take away any one of those things or do any one of those things to put out the fire. The last point is that catering establishments must adhere to the fire safety regulations. Now that just means that they must develop a fire policy that's going to reduce the risk of a fire, reduce the risk of the spread of a fire, provide a means of escape, so planning escape routes, and showing the preventative action that's taken place. So they're all part of a fire policy.